Well, two of our favourites coming in today.
Yeah.
No disrespect to all other guests that we've had or will have, but Casey Biggs and Vaughn Armstrong are just a couple of real gents
and multi-talented, and you know, for the first time, we're going to have live music played.
Yes.
On the show, so I'm really looking forward to that, and it's nice to have them back. We did have Vaughn on the other iteration, but we hadn't spoken with Casey yet, and you know, they both have story after story after story to tell.
And we've known both of them, Casey especially, for a long time, and so to have him on the show and get a real sort of proper quality time chat with him is going to be lovely.
And his dog.
And his two dogs, actually, but only Bosco was allowed to sit in the chair because he's well behaved. Lucy, not so well behaved. I got a rather nasty scratch, which I will be suing for.
Well, we hope you enjoy the show.
Yes.
We are looking forward to it.
Okay. Please, this is what we call our call to action. We really need your support. I can't say it any more clearer than that. So please find us at the Decon Chamber on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple
Podcasts
and thedeconchamber.com.
Yep.
But the best way you can support us, really, is to become a Patreon member at patreon.com. And for a small amount of money a month, you can help us keep these lights on and keep this show going. We know you love it. So please step up and help us do that.
Join us Sundays at 11 o'clock Pacific time on YouTube for new episodes. And we've got some great ones coming.
We sure have.
So pay attention. Look at the website. It'll let you know when we are starting. So we can't wait to bring it to you.
Thank you, guys.
The show has begun. Set your phasers to fun. You're guaranteed for a trip. Slip into the decon with Connor and Dom. It's the Decon Chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trekkies and Trekkers, welcome back to another episode of the Decon Chamber. I am Connor Trinneer, and as always, my best friend, co-mate,
co-host,
we spoon sometimes, Dominic Keating. We have a great show today. We have somewhat of a musical review by the two gentlemen who are sitting in front of us, and one, Damar from Deep Space Nine, Casey Biggs.
Hey, Casey.
Smile when you say that.
Casey Biggs.
No, Damar.
Oh, Damar. And
I'm Damar.
He actually was a Cardassian named Dinar.
Well, because
Dinar and Damar,
but not your most famous role, I don't think.
Vaughn Armstrong, who played Admiral Forrest for us, but also, I don't know, 75 other characters in...
It's 112.
You hold the record, do you not?
I do. It's actually 12 characters.
If Jeff Combs had shown up today, I was going to start it off with a joke. A Cardassian, a Vorta, and an Admiral walk into a bar. I got the punchline.
The punchline is, and the bartender says, the usual, Mr. Combs?
Yeah. Well, gents, thank you
Thanks for coming in, lads.
Finally, we're very happy to be here.
I know.
Yeah.
But you've made your first mistake already.
What?
Well, there are going to be many.
He's called us gentlemen.
Well, you know what?
He knows us.
We're going to get into that. Maybe we're going to find out that you're not.
So now let me ask you a question. Have you two ever actually acted in a Star Trek show together?
Yes.
You have? In a scene together?
Yes.
Because I was racking my brains to think what that might have been.
I don't speak in that scene.
Is it in our show?
No.
No?
In Deep Space.
It's in Deep Space.
What's so funny is that the best, one of the best photographs that I signed for fans that come up is a fantastic shot of me as Damar, and sitting right off to my side is Vaughn. And I always say, this is Vaughn. Go have him sign this too.
Did you muscle in on a two-shot?
Yeah, I did. It's what they say, touch the money.
That's right.
Your audition for Damar was like 2 lines, wasn't it? If that.
It was 1 line.
One line.
5 words, 1 line.
And you went in for it. You were like, so who?
I have to say, I knew nothing about the show because I didn't watch. I watched the original show, and I didn't watch The Next Generation. And I got a call. They want to see you for Star Trek. I'm sure, great. Okay, I'll go into Paramount, and I walk in the room. There's 30 frickin' guys in there, sitting in.
Oh, this is in the days when we
when we actually went to auditions.
Yeah, right.
And then I said, and I look at the sides. The line was, "They're in range, sir. Fire." I said, "I went to fucking Juilliard. What the hell am I doing here?" Anybody could do it. Pardon my French. I don't know if we can.
No, we got F-bombs.
Do you know that's yeah? Look at it. Do you know that joke? Heart, there goes the cannon. Yeah, do you know, that's a good old accent joke.
So I and there's about 6 or 8 producers in there, and I read the line. I said, "Oh, that was really great." I thought, "Who the hell are these people?" And then I go home. I get a call. They loved you. They want you to come in tomorrow. All right. And I went back, and there were 5 guys instead of 30 guys in there to go read.
Right.
I walked into the room. They said, "Oh, that was a really interesting."
Did you know the other people? No. Were you in a gene pool at that time? No, right.
No, they all looked like me.
Yeah, they had, yeah.
Or I looked like them. And they said, "Oh, that was a very intelligent read you did yesterday." I'm thinking, who are these people? They're in range, sir, fire. Right. But I have to say, I got the job, and it's actually a very interesting story. And on the set, I'd never had 3 hours of makeup on in my life.
No,
I think you hold the record. How many? 8 hours or something?
7.5
7.5 hours. He can tell that story. So I'm in the makeup, and I'm sitting at this, those fake little things that you have to do. And our dear buddy Jonathan, who's working with us here today, he came over and whispered in my ear. He said, "They have big plans for this character." And I said, "Don't tell me that. I've got 2 pounds of rubber on my face. I don't know what I'm doing." And the thing is, they didn't really know either. They knew they wanted to bring somebody as a foil for Mark
Ducat, for Mark, right.
And I literally went from that one line to being the leader of the Empire in 4 or 5 years.
What was that line again?
"They're in range, sir.
Hark, there goes the cannon."
I gotta tell you, I saw that episode, and I think it was some of your best work.
Start at the top.
Yes,
Did they start him out as a drunk? Because they
No. What happened with that was that they wrote a scene for Armin and I in the bar.
Yeah.
Give me the canar. No, the good stuff, right? And they liked the way I sat in the bar, and I got into a fight with them practically, and they loved the way I did it, and they made me a freaking alcoholic for like 3 years or something.
Because they would never they were never going to make a human have an issue with drugs or alcohol. Were they?
Really? I didn't.
Apparently we were past that, and
they're just the aliens.
So they could let an alien.
Well, the humans were fine. It was the aliens that had the problem.
Yes, of course.
Exactly.
And I tell you, I think it was the 3rd or 4th episode from the last season of the last shows where they let me stop drinking, because Jeff Combs, being the weasel that he was as that character,
He's not here.
he's not Jeff. We love you. He was great at that as that character, but he came in, and I'm lying in bed with some nondescript Cardassian female.
Right. Could have been.
One never knows. Right. Cardassians. And Jeff comes in. He says, Wei-Yun comes in. "I just want you to know that your wife and your child have been killed by." I didn't even know I had a wife and a child. I would have played the whole damn character differently had I known that. And so I get it. I remember it was Rene Auberjonois was directing that episode.
Bless.
And I get up out of bed, and I'm looking in a mirror, and I grab a thing of Canar, which was horrible, and I go to drink, and I look in my thing, and I threw it at the mirror. And that's the last time I ever drank that stuff on the show.
Was that a choice you made, or was it in the script?
It was written in.
in.
But nobody ever told you what the heck was going on?
No, I had no idea I had a wife.
And kid. No kidding.
Well, I was sitting there. I'm sitting in the makeup trailers that we have, and they had Ducat's daughter, and they had 3 actresses play that part, by the way, different ones, because they couldn't find one. And I'm sitting in there, and there's a next week's script. Oh, can I look at that? Yeah, go pick up next week's script. I look at it. I said, "I kill Zial?" She's sitting next to me. She went. She had no idea
It was me.
Oh my God.
My point being is that you don't know what's going on.
Right,
No, you
right.
still don't.
This is my little buddy Bosco.
Who's that little fella? Yeah, Bosco.
Bosco can't stand to take his eyes off me. I notice you have one of your own, but I think you need to see somebody about that, Connor, because
I think he needs to go out.
it's not real.
I think all pets should not poop or pee. Or eat.
Or eat, right. You can just fluffy
Yeah,
sleep with
I got 3 dogs at home, so it's nice to have one of these that doesn't do anything.
Yes, right. Well, I had to bring mine today because nobody could watch them. So thank you for allowing.
Yeah, of course.
So you ended up, being a very, instrumental part in that. Whole,
Yes, it was. And what I didn't realize is that, I mean, they watch you. They probably did in your show.
They
too.
do.
And then when you do it, and they watch you and they say, "Oh, I like that," and they'll just expand it
Yeah.
and write more
Yeah.
and write more. Another little thing before I hand it off to my comrade here. I had no idea that Ira Bear, who was the showrunner of our show, excellent. I just love the man.
Yeah.
He was obsessed with the Alamo. He was a huge fan of the
That's
Alamo.
right.
I did the first dramatic IMAX film that they ever shot. You know what IMAX films are?
Sure.
They had never done a dramatic IMAX film up there. They were all like travelogues.
Yeah.
Right.
Ski stuff.
Alaska, Grand Canyon.
Right, right.
And this was about the Alamo. And I played the hero of the Alamo, William Barrett Travis. And he had seen that. And so what I didn't know is at the moment I walked into that room, I had the job. But I didn't know that.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
right. And then your death scene is
That's funny too.
is straight out of
Straight out of the
Scarface.
no, it's straight out of Butch Cassidy. Next time I said, "Let's go to Bolivia," let's go to Bolivia, and off you go.
You fought for that death scene too, didn't you?
I fought for because in the script it was Damar is killed by ND alien, ND nondescript alien.
right.
I went to the director who had become a friend,
Alan Croker,
Alan
wasn't it?
Croker,
Yeah.
a wonderful guy. And I said, Alan, come on, I can't be killed by a nondescript alien. And he said, well, what do you
At least
want
get my ex-wife in here.
to be continued? I said, it's going to be one of those days. And he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, you know what I want? I want a John Woo death. You know John Woo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Bullet ballets.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
He's got a new film on, which is really good. And so he said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I want to have 2 huge guns. I want to take out, what are those guys that had milk going into their neck? What were they called?
The
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadars, yeah.
And I want to take out 50 of those guys, and I want my chest to explode, and I want to die in somebody's arms. And he thought for a second. He said, okay. So that's how I died.
Did he have to ring through?
No, he didn't. No, he
He
didn't.
just went and said, okay.
Because Livingston would have said, "You get 2 shots,
yeah, one gem,
and your
one
chest doesn't
Hadar.
explode."
But the person whose arms I died in was Andy Robinson. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
Nice.
right.
But he actually ultimately destroyed Wayuns because they kept coming back and coming back
Right.
and coming back, which is another. Well, Jeff.
Jeff loved that
Jeff's
part,
not
didn't he?
here.
He loved it. He
Jeff's
was
not
so good
here.
in it. So how you been, mate?
I'm gonna live.
You've been going through some stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
It
That's
comes,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm doing great.
Good.
Going on this cruise coming up in February.
Right.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll be
Where
there.
are we doing in
We're
New
going
Jersey?
to the Caribbean. Oh no, we're not going to Jersey because I'm getting married.
He's kidding. You're right. That's that weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
and-
Where are your priorities?
Seriously. And then I said to Tom, I was like, "Hey, listen, I know that we've got a convention, but I really want you to be at my wedding. Will you skip New Jersey?" And he was like,
Is there any other weekend?
I got to pay for my wedding. Right?
You want a present and you're stiffing me out of
"That's right. I'll come to your wedding for $7,000."
Well, actually, I'm glad you told me that because I'm going to reference that because we're going to be there.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
be on our
please,
Rat Pack show.
do.
We're going to say our buddies are not here because they're getting married.
Yeah.
So
Not
Well,
to
it was
be-
great seeing you two guys. The last 2 shows we've done together, I've seen the Rat Pack live.
oh yeah, you hadn't seen it
times.
before. had you?
Well, I have, and but it's been a little while, and you dare I
got
say, you got better.
Yeah. 13 years worth
It's
better.
yeah, you really are.
15?
15 years.
And it was lovely to see Max come back.
Oh
for
man,
this
Max
last
is such
show.
a
And
he's,
he's going through some stuff, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
lives a long way
He
away.
will be in Secaucus. He'll be on the cruise. He won't be doing so much. He lives in where does he live? He lives in Europe. somewhere.
Croatia or
Yeah.
Austria or
He lives in Austria,
Austria.
way up in the hills. He's milking cows first thing
But
in the morning.
he's such a talent, and he's such a sweet human being. And
There's a bunch of sweetness on that stage that we miss when he's not there. He's
Yeah.
only been not there once.
Right.
Really?
for us, but
Tell us how this all started, because it started originally with some Shakespeare stuff, didn't it? With you.
Well, no, that
Marco
was a whole
Limo.
different. That was a whole different. Our
It was a whole different. It was just but doing stuff after the
Jeff
shows.
and Limo did something to do something, give the fans something other than just signing.
Yeah.
autographs. But Vaughn came up with this whole thing with the Enterprise Blues Band originally.
Right.
The Enterprise Blues Band.
Tell them how that came about. When you were watching Picardo in Blackpool or something.
Yeah, you know how Bob always comes out.
Commandeers a
with a
stage.
song or something, and I thought, well, now that's the thing to do. We were in London, right? Or,
No, Blackpool, I think.
Blackpool. It was Blackpool. And
The other London.
yeah, and he's out there entertaining the audience, is having a ball. I
Singing
said,
these songs and
that's it. Entertain them, you know. And I brought my harmonicas with me. So that night, when I
That's
came
the
out
first
to
time you
speak,
did
yeah, I said I didn't see anybody out there ready to ask questions, but they were out there. I just couldn't see because it was dark.
Right.
So I said, "You guys mind if I play my harmonica?" And
Did you just go out and
so I
busk, did
did,
you?
and they loved it. And then I thought, wow, maybe I ought to write some songs for this thing, because I had just learned to play the ukulele as well. Casey and I were sitting in
I think we were in Florida or something.
Podunk.
Signing next to each other,
Yeah,
take-
Yeah.
and I brought my uke.
he
He said,
played
"Let me
me-
play that."
He said, "Let me play," and he
He
said,
played it better than I did. Just when he picked it up the first time,
"But he
I
played
said,
me one
"Damn
of the
him."
songs." I said, "That's good. I like that." And what about this? And what about so that created ultimately 3 albums for us.
And
right?
I said, "You want to be in a band? Because I got one going." And our friend Steve Rankin, you know, Steve,
Excellent, excellent musician.
Yeah.
really good. Plays the bass, plays the guitar, the mandolin, and he has a whole band himself with his wife Susie Glaze that has a great bass player, Fred Sanders,
Yeah,
and
he's a
Mark
terrific guy.
Dichter is a fiddle player, and
Well,
when
you know,
we
like,
all
we're-
get together, it's
That's awesome.
We're
world-class.
like rock stars in Germany, but that's not saying much because so is
Hasselhoff.
Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff.
No offense to Germany.
He's just got a new album out, so you think my acting sucks.
Oh my word!
That's good.
But you've also had iterations of the band itself, right? There's Johnny Phillips, who's been in and out.
Well, that's with the
That's
Rat
the
Band.
Rat
That's a whole.
Band.
Now that's a different.
That's
two different
different.
Tell them how that got started. Because Max would be doing these shows around the world, the stuff that he had done, about Ram, Rubber Butt Head songs and stuff like that.
Right.
They were parodies.
Yeah.
And then Lolita Facho, who manages us, he said, "You know what? You should put a."
Lolita got the idea. She thought that all of us were pretty cool. And Jeff also plays a guitar. And she said, let's...
All of us are pretty cool, and Jeff plays a guitar.
and he plays a guitar. But she said,
He's not here.
"Let's
We can say
try it."
whatever.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
Want.
He
We
noodles
love
on the
Jeff
guitar.
Collins. But they just said, let's put these guys together and see what we can get for a final show, because all they had was the auction.
Yeah.
And then
right.
everybody went home.
In Vegas, they had.
So they figured they'd give them something to go out with a bang on.
And it just lit on
It's
fire.
13 years now, is it?
15.
Yeah, 15
It's
years.
15.
We're always on the way home by the time you guys are playing the
I know
end
you
of the
guys.
convention.
We
And I
had-
mean, do you get a lot of people there at the end?
couple
of
thousand.
Yeah.
Couple thousand.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of them say it's the best part of the whole.
It's the reason they come.
It's a great show.
Except for you guys.
It's no karaoke.
And then last year, not the previous year before this, the fans have been saying, "We want an album, we record it or something." And we finally, after the show in Las Vegas last August, not this one, the one before that, we kept everybody together, came into a recording studio in L.A. and put the whole thing down, and we got a fabulous album.
There's some great songs.
And also, we weaved Johnny Ethan Phillips, who's sort of our Joey Bishop of it.
Yes, he though also played with our band a time or two with his saxophone.
Oh, he wanted
Oh, he
to.
plays sax?
And yeah, he does. But
Sort of.
Now he plays occasionally with the Rat Pack. And the rest of the time, he
I
does
love
the
it.
dirty
The
jokes.
comic relief is great.
Yeah, we took live performances of his when we did it and weaved them into the recording, so it really gives you a feel of a live performance, which is terrific.
It does.
We're going to present the CDs on our website, so that,
Super.
you can they can be sold on
One
our
of
website
Johnny's
as well for you
jokes
guys.
just now was so hot in New York, I got my wife to give me another icy stare. No, that's right. He left the loose seat up so my wife would give me an icy stare.
It's one of his cleaner jokes.
That's one of his cleaner ones. I love it.
He's got a million of those.
He
does.
collects them. He collects them.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
He's astounding.
He told a story that he was in a cab one time, and that I think the cab driver was telling a joke. There's a secret society of comics and joke tellers in New York that they get together and have a salon, as it were, and they just go in and tell jokes. And he gets invited to do this. And so he got to meet all of the, the great one-liner comics who were in New York, and just became part of that whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a cab story with Ethan, though. We were going on a river cruise. My son was going to, Seth, who recently had a baby, by the way.
Congratulations, Grandpa.
Oh, congrats.
Grandpa.
Wow.
A year ago, he had a baby. But Ethan and Seth and I are in a cab in Germany. And the driver is telling us all these wonderful stories about the thing around us, and he's not looking at the road. And my son goes, Dad, the seatbelt. And Ethan is in the front seat without a seatbelt. And all of a sudden, bam, he got right into the back of another car. He's looking like this, telling about how that's 1,000 years old over. And
Never heard
he hit the car, and Ethan went flying up into the windshield. I don't know if he cracked it, but he pretty close to cracked his head. And he had a big
old
bump.
bruise up there.
Yeah,
never
for a
heard that
long
story.
time, yeah.
Did he end with a joke?
No, it wasn't funny. That's right. It was funny, though. My son had just said, Dad, put on your seatbelt. And I did. No sooner did I do that.
Was it a
smashed
Was it a
into
yellow
the back
cab
of the car.
too? Yeah. Or an
Do they have
Uber?
those
They don't have those in
They
Germany.
don't. I was in Germany.
It was in
I was in
Germany.
Germany.
They have Mercedes-Benz.
A blonde cab, anyway.
God bless. Yeah, it was probably Oktoberfest, and he had two fucking.
Yeah. Can you list the characters you played? Do you know them all by heart?
He does. I don't. I don't even remember what episodes of it.
Well,
Go ahead. Come on.
okay. There was Admiral Forrest. There was Captain Forrest. In the Mirror Darkly, I got to be captain of
Tell
the
him about it. I know
Enterprise.
you want to say this. The
I
best
do.
episode. Go ahead.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Newsweek picked that episode where I was captain as the best episode of Enterprise.
No kidding.
In their 50-year
What?
edition. Yeah, and I know you hated it because you had a thing
I hated 'em.
on your eye.
Yeah.
A big scar.
More to
and you
the
had a
point, I was-
line where you can't even see it.
That's right.
Which I thought was funny as
And I'm
hell.
Was that
talking
the
like a
episode
pirate.
when you were nailing Hoshi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first day was pretty much nailing Hoshi. And I thought, this is going to be the role of a lifetime. So anyway, those two. And then there was Telek Ramor, who was a Romulan out in deep space, and a scientist who we have an affinity for each other, the Voyager cast and I, because we miss our children. That was that character. I won't go into the rest of their, inner thoughts, but then there was the Cretacean, which was 7.5 hours. Yeah, 7.5 hours in makeup. And at the end of that makeup call, I got it all on. They knock on the door. They say, Vaughn, can we talk to you?
Yeah.
We're not going to get to you today. After 7.5 hours of makeup. And then, took another 2 hours to take it off.
Rather
So I got
sleep in
some
it.
overtime
Yeah.
sitting in the chair, which
Yeah,
was
no
fun.
kidding.
And they brought you right back in. I'm sure they forced you in the next day.
3:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. And I had another thing to do that night for NBC. So I had to finish the shooting of the Cretacean and go do the other thing. I said I'd never do it again. I can't wait to do it again.
Just give me a chance.
What was the other thing at NBC?
It was a
Mary Tyler Moore
pilot.
show.
Yeah. No,
Something
it
in
was
a
pilot
suit.
for an adventure show
Right.
somewhere where I kind of played the orator of the sort of who was Indiana Jones character.
But it's an interesting piece of Vaughn, history. What were you in the? Remember they had that big thing in Vegas, the Star Trek Experience.
right.
Yeah.
Weren't you the?
I was the Klingon chasing you in
Yeah.
that ride, Korath, which they brought back at the end of Voyager as a mad scientist in a cave who Kate was stealing my time machine from me.
And you played it?
I played the time machine.
No, I mean, did you get did they get somebody else to play you?
No, it was me.
very
It was me, 20 years older. You know,
Oh my gosh.
which they meant that character.
How long did that run for, the experience in Vegas?
A long time, at least 7 years.
Well, we were there. I mean,
Yeah.
we went to. I
We
remember,
saw when it was last
I remember we went round. I was so hungover.
You were
the day
so
I was
hungover.
on it. It was,
You were hungover? No.
those were the days.
Dominic is sitting in front of me in the audience, and I just look over and he's going like this.
And don't they even spritz you with wire in that thing or something? It's like
The whole bloody
scratch and
thing,
sniff
you
or
know,
something.
it's like it's like being in the
getting
Atlantic
sick?
Ocean in a hurricane, for crying out
Did you
loud.
get seasick?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, that was the first and last time I went on the experience.
Yes, indeed. You know.
But it was great for me because they used me in their commercial for the longest time, for like 7 years. And then they realized, hell, if we just use audience members, we don't have to pay them.
Yeah, right.
So they just took me out of the commercials. But it lasted
business.
for 7 years, so it was okay. Then otherwise, I did a couple of I did Chorus, who I think was the first male Klingon on Next Generation. That was my big death scene. You are no Klingon. I'm with what's his name, Worf, and I'm about to
Michael,
shoot
right.
him. Of course, he shoots me, and I fall through 3 stories of glass, and he picks me up and cuddles me and starts to go.
He does the Klingon death yell or
We
something?
did. We invented the death yell. I did
wow.
yell. I did it first with him, and then at the end of the show, he does it with me.
I was watching an episode for you last night, the Attacking Into the Wind, and it's a big episode. And when you see these character actors, you know, all dolled up in these costumes and the makeup, and I mean, you're really selling a world.
Well, I mean, it astounded me one time. There were like 6 or 7 episodes where we took over the entire station. When I say we, I mean Ducat, Wayun and I, Jeff and Mark and I. And it was like our show.
Yes,
Because all of the other
they
guys
were all
were
off on a
some
shuttlecraft
little
somewhere, weren't they?
shuttlecraft or
Yeah.
something. They had over 100 extras. And they had, I don't even know how many makeup people on that particular episode or two. And it was astounding.
Yeah.
I mean, these makeup people, they are artists.
They are.
They are,
Artists.
and it's flawless to look at.
Oh,
Yeah.
And look, I mean,
and this is why you guys don't have to worry about this, and you don't even, but you know, every once in a while I get asked to, you know, get into makeup
Right.
for some, and I swear to God I would never do that. But then the money kept getting higher.
back up the
and
money
higher
track.
and higher, and I said, okay, 30 minutes, y'all do it. But then now you feel like your character's grandfather or something, you know,
Right.
Damar's, you know, grandfather, you know, you just, and also they don't get the professional makeup artists that did them on the show.
Right,
So
right.
the makeup is not quite
Right.
as good.
But there is something definitely to when you have that kind of makeup on, prosthetics and all that you got to act the makeup.
You got to let you got to let it do the acting. Tell them that story. That's
Well,
I've heard every story. He's got a story.
once in that first Klingon, I forget what somebody said, but I responded by saying, I'm trying to let the makeup do the acting. And you know, it's a dichotomy there because the makeup does help you get into the character. You know, the Cardassians have these great necks. I feel like they're so uptight that they've stretched their necks into almost popping. And the Klingons have the big foreheads. And I always pictured Klingons growing up button heads with a goat in the backyard, you know, just to practice. But then you got to let the human come through because that's what they are. They're just people with a different point of view.
Yeah.
Beings, let's say beings. With it.
yeah,
People are people.
People are
Klingons are good people.
creatures.
Anyway, go on with what you heard the director say.
Oh yeah, like I'm doing another episode 20 years ago, or 20 years after I had said that to the director. I'm trying to let the makeup do the acting, and I heard a director tell an actor, "Let the makeup do the acting."
No, but it was the same director, wasn't it? I thought it was.
I don't think it was the same director,
it's not as
but
good a
I
story.
think it had become a catchphrase on the set, which was nice.
And rightly so.
Yeah, and rightly so.
It is. If you try, I mean, it's the clothes. I mean, what I love about us, you know, as a family in Star Trek. The actors are so good, so well trained. And so, I mean, you have to be so proficient with language. And I mean, Vaughn and I are both, classically trained actors. And you to try to say this gobbledygook and have it sound like it's coming out of a real being's head and mouth.
And mean something.
Yes.
And seamless.
And seamless and
The breath has to be there.
yes.
It's like Shakespeare. Most
It
of
is.
us have done a lot of Shakespeare.
No kidding.
And I used to say to myself when I was a kid doing my first Shakespeare, Romeo, I was 17, Romeo.
Hey,
and Juliet.
As he should be.
Yeah.
Yep. But he was 14 or something.
No,
wasn't he?
she was.
She was.
Well, they always age him out.
But
No, that was McKellen's Juliet.
He's 84. He's still doing Juliet.
I said to myself, if I can make this stuff sound real, if I can do Shakespeare and make it real, then I can do anything.
Yeah.
Well, what's fascinating about that kind of work? It's all melodrama, and everything we do is life and death. I mean, in these shows, it's about life and death. Yeah. It's melodrama,
Right.
and you have to, if you don't buy it and if you can't inhabit it, it just looks fake. And it looks
It's not convincing.
There's
no.
urgency involved
Yeah.
in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, without gilding the lily. That's also the
Getting
secret.
back to the
Yeah.
original point, which is the clothes and the makeup, you have to be very confident and relaxed to allow yourself to be present in all of that stuff.
Right.
And then you don't realize, because you've got it on, how powerful that stuff is. Those Klingons and those
Oh, you look at Bob
Cardassians.
O'Reilly. I mean,
My God, it's terrifying with those
terrifying,
eyes. And,
Right.
and he used this just sparingly enough.
And JG, Ursula,
JG.
same
Both
thing.
of them.
And then when
voice.
you're not shooting, you're sitting there talking to people,
Yeah.
full on in this makeup.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd walk out of stage 8 or 9, and there'd be a couple of Klingons sitting on the bench on their phones having a fag.
Well, Jeff and I were shooting an episode towards the end of the whole series, and you do turnarounds, and right. So they shot us, and it was before lunch, and then the first AD said, "You guys can get out of makeup. We're going to turn around and shoot the other people." And I said, "Great, fabulous." So we go get our makeup, and then we come back in. We get called in. We go sit on the thing. And say, "Oh, no, you guys, you can't be here." They had no idea what we looked like
Oh, yeah.
out of makeup. They didn't realize that we were the kids. Said, "No, we're the characters here. We're just
Yeah.
You know that character I did that took 7.5 hours of makeup?
Cardassian."
I did a scene with you guys in that makeup, and you didn't.
And we didn't know it
me.
was you,
yeah.
did we?
You
No.
didn't.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And
You don't see it when you come in because you're way too early for everybody else.
3 o'clock.
You're leaving
Your
after
makeup takes
everybody
what,
else.
4 minutes.
At most.
And what was nice is you tried to make me feel comfortable on stage as a newbie.
Oh, good.
Oh.
You know, you
We
I
did have that.
I did find that in our cast too. I mean, Armin did the same thing. My first day, he said,
Right.
"Hey, come on in. Let's, makes you feel." I've been on set. You guys have been on set, so they don't give a damn about.
Oh, sometimes
as a
they're-
guest
they're
star.
cold places.
Oh, yeah.
A guest star, they just,
There's cold.
Yeah.
And what was Avery like? Was he welcoming?
To me, he was. He
the
wasn't
most
to
part.
everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave me 2 or 3 of the most interesting directions I ever got. One time, where he was directing one of the
Right.
shows, and I did something. He in Avery way, he slinks up to you.
He was a
goes-
cat.
He says, "Glide, dig," and walks away.
He said, "What? What is
Glide.
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 Just
dig.
glide.
And he did one to Jeff too. He walked up to Jeff. He says, "Slalom." Walked away. And Jeff said, "I knew what he was talking
Yeah,
about."
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, I got a story about him too. I'm doing a show in San Diego. They call me and ask me to come and do a Cardassian. I think it was the 2nd episode of Deep Space or something. And I get off the show in San Diego. I got to drive home and get up at 3 a.m. to go to makeup, and I have not slept one iota. I'm kind of excited to have the job anyway.
Sure.
And so I get into the dressing room, finally got everything on. I put my head back to just grab
out.
2 winks. Mr. Armstrong, we need you on stage 9, please. So I go out there, and I am too tired to screw up. I get everything right on the money. And because of that, I think, I'm not sure, but Avery started to get a little off because
He's
I
blowing some
hadn't
lines.
screwed up at all. And he was getting mad at himself for getting a line or two here. And I realized this may be because you're not screwing up, Vaughn. So I screwed up on purpose.
Did you really?
I did. And
Put him at his
he
ease.
didn't have another mistake.
How about that?
Everything was okay after that.
Isn't that funny? The tricks and games we play.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is because it. I mean, this is what an audience or the public don't understand is we're coming together, and you're just standing in a barren room, as it were, or and you're just making this shit up.
And you have to have tell him a story about Scott that one time. You tell that story.
Which story?
How he went to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Scott Bakula.
He was on your show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the best lead I've ever worked with in a show. Most considerate.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I saw him come into the set one day and ask the stage manager, he said, "What is that extra's name?"
Yeah.
Because I want to thank him for the good work he did yesterday. You don't see Lee do that.
No.
Ever. And he did. He walked up and he said, "John," or whatever the guy's name, "you really helped us out yesterday. You did great work. Thank you very much."
And he meant
I
it.
saw him do that,
This
several times.
This wasn't disingenuous either.
Shook everybody's hand at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Everybody's hand at the end
Boy
of the day.
Scout.
We'd be out on location. He'd be laying track for the camera guys because we were going to lose the light.
That's
It's
a pro.
anti-union, but he'd be doing it.
Yeah, that's the pro.
And he knew how to do it.
And we've all worked
Complete
with people
pro.
who they're so insecure they won't do that.
No,
None of it.
They won't even.
no, the
attention
horror
to it.
stories of other sets where the lead
But
guy.
what's
is
good
just
about
an
it is
arsehole.
it's in our training too. Is I make sure to do that too. You got to be
Yeah,
recognized.
It's all
be
hands on deck.
conscious,
Yeah.
and kind and because
yeah.
I did an episode of something. It was some procedural in the past couple of years here, and I'm the guest. If you're not the lead, you're the guest bad guy, basically.
Right.
So I was the bad guy, and guy was interrogating me. He went and sat down, and he was very good, and he called cut, and I went. I said, you were very present, very good. And he was like, "You mean you noticed?"
Yeah. Right.
But I complimented him, so I'm glad I did.
You've just been doing a little independent film, haven't you? Or just
I did.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, what was it?
It was actually an excellent horror film.
Right.
And
Horror or horror?
horror.
Horror.
And what's funny about it
That's terrible.
is the reason they called me was because they had seen a softcore musical porn that I had done when I was 27.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, did he look!
Yeah.
Boy, did he look good when
That's
he was
almost 50 years ago.
Was that fluff and dry? What was it?
No, it was called Cinderella 2000. And you know what? My wife just bought that movie.
Did she really?
I've seen the clipping unit.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Was it like Ringo Starr in that or something?
Blonde hair and...
So they saw that and then thought of you for what?
for this horror film that I just did a month and a half ago.
Well, he did
2
have a
months
nude
ago.
scene in it, so.
Yes, I'm butt naked.
But the director went up and said, "Wait, I don't remember that." No, that's not.
Yeah.
So they know about shrinkage.
Yeah, she said, "Well, Dave, weren't you longer once?"
Wait, did they?
No, but didn't you tell him? You said, "Oh, you probably knew me because of Star
Yeah,
Trek."
well,
right?
I went to dinner with her. I know her mother that I did a movie with 30-some, the director's mother that I did a movie with, I guess 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I was 30-something. I'm telling too much about myself. But, and she wanted to go to dinner with me and my wife. And I thought, well, she said, they're big fans of yours. And I went, oh, I must be Star Trek fans, which it turns out they also were. But also, no, the reason they wanted to go to dinner was because of Cinderella 2000 that they studied in their film class.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
You can study anything in American universities, can't
Al
you?
Adamson was the director, who was murdered, by the way.
For real.
For real. Murdered by a guy. This is a great story. Poor
Be
guy.
giggling over
True,
it, yeah.
true.
He hired a
crimes.
guy, a construction guy, to stay in his house and work on his house. He gave the construction guy, the contractor, his credit card to buy whatever he needed.
Oh dear.
He got in a fight with him about a bunch of stuff he was buying he shouldn't have bought. The guy killed him and buried him in the house that he was living in and doing the construction on. And
Oh my God.
Redlands.
That was Redlands, right? That's a better story than Cinderella 2000.
Yeah.
They, I mean, what happens to
They found the
They
guy.
nailed him, I
Yeah,
take
they
it.
found the guy.
So this is maybe not the right expression.
They killed him. A couple of years later, they
God.
found him. But
Well, did you have a good time on the horror film? No, it was a
yes,
good
it was
experience.
wonderful, almost profound
Right.
in some ways. I mean, we've all lost people that we love.
Yeah.
And this is the first part of my character in this is they're losing me because of cancer. And then there are 4 parts. I'm sick and about to die, and then I'm dead, which is another part, the hardest part because you can't breathe. And then another part is I'm the nicest guy in the world in my daughter's dreams. She'll say, "Dad, what would you do when I'm dead?"
I smell a Golden Globe in this song.
Right.
And I get to be that sweet guy. And then they don't do part of the ceremony correctly to bring me back to life. So I turn into this monster.
I've seen photographs of it. It's not pretty.
No.
Not pretty.
Well, I'm 74, naked.
Yeah, no, you used to have a nice ass, but I don't know about that. Let me ask you guys. Let's turn the page a little bit. What have you guys gotten out of doing this? How long
That
is-
show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is our second iteration of it. We had another show a couple of years ago that we had to walk away from. We did a lot of really good interviews on that. Not least Vaughn was our third
Oh,
guest.
you've done this
God
before?
bless, yeah.
You rat bastard, you didn't
Yeah.
tell me that.
Oh, you didn't ask.
He helped us out. John Billingsley was our first. I think Jeff
Anthony.
Jeff was our second.
Was Jeff our second?
Yeah, and then Vaughn. So this version of it, the Decon Chamber, it's working out. And I mean, look, I really enjoy the fact that we've all kind of known each other over the years, and it's 20 years at
Same
least.
experience.
25 years. And yes, we are a family, and when we do get to conventions, we have interaction and we have a couple of drinks at a bar, and some of us have got to know each other more intimately over those years. But what's been really interesting is to have other actors from other shows that I know only in passing to say hello to. And
Right.
and you know how actors can be. We're all quite lovey, and it's lovely to see you, but never really knew them. And there's this whole journey's been an exploration of really finding out who they are and the
You know, it's
lives they've
interesting.
led.
Sirach said to me just the last time we were together in one of the shows, the conventions, and there's a whole bunch of new shows coming on now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was so clever about it. He said, because they sort of like keep to themselves.
Yeah.
All those other
A little bit.
shows. And he said to him, which I thought was pretty prescient, is that he said, guys, he said, we're family here, and what you guys realize, you're stepping into something. You're going to know us for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, behooves you to
Not be a dick.
Open up.
And some of them,
Yeah. I mean, what I love about it in particular is the long form element of the conversation.
Yeah.
That even with people that I feel as though I know, there's so much more with the research that you do about finding out, where they come from, what were the things that they did, what were their jobs, what were their experiences, and I really think it's nice to explore that with someone and have an in-depth conversation.
And we haven't. You want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, and like you guys said, it's been 20 years
Yeah.
that we've been doing these events, and we have become friends.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I remember the first time you and I really hung out together. We went to Australia, and when your first child was still in the belly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, there's history there.
You ordered, which surprised me, a chilled bubbly Pinot.
Oh yeah, it was very good.
It
Wasn't
was really good. Yeah.
It's a bubbly Pinot.
It's a cold red champagne kind of thing.
lovely, yeah.
Out of Pinot, yeah. It was
Yeah,
delicious.
well, I was I nearly went and bought a bottle of wine and some glasses to come in because we do a wine tasting thing down with Casey
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the
I've
convention.
got a history with that. I make wine.
He knows how to make wine, and he's got a very good palate.
and you know how to drink it.
I certainly know. Yeah, give me a bad rep,
Hey,
mate.
you're not so bad at that yourself.
Not anymore. I'm drinking less and less.
Well,
That's
yeah.
why I'm
Me
a
too. We
nicer
all
person.
have to eventually. I mean, the inflammation alone, and
Hello.
We all want to live long, healthy lives.
Did you wind up finding solace in the theater, or how did you find yourself?
I could always.
on
It's
the stage?
interesting. The school that I went to, high school in particular, or in the grade school, I can sing, so I was in the choir.
Yes, you can.
I was
You've
in
got
the
a beautiful
choir.
voice.
And then in high school, I did all the musicals,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I had some people who were, we have mentors in our lives, and some people who had seen me, and he said, Ed, if you want to do this, there's two ways you can do it. You can go right to New York or whatever and try to do it, or you can get training. And if you're going to get training, go to this school, or that school. And I got into all the schools, who knows why, and I ended up going to Juilliard.
Out of high school.
Right out of high school, yeah. I wouldn't really recommend that to most people.
Yeah.
How old were you when to Julia? Were you 17? 18, right?
right. And then you graduate at 22, and then I started doing television pretty much.
Which
How did
class were you in?
I was in group 6. I was in Robin Williams was in my class. Kelsey Grammer was in my
Christopher
class.
Reeve.
Christopher Reeve, Harriet Harris. I'm some really terrific actors.
Did you go to Juilliard too?
No, they didn't take me.
Oh,
I tried.
Did you audition?
Oh, I auditioned, yeah.
I was terrified, man. When I went to audition, and you probably had the whole.
Did you have to do a Shakespeare and a modern?
You just had when I went, you just did 2 pieces, and that was it. Later on,
Did
they
one
took you
have to
for
be a
whole day.
Shakespeare?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Do
in
you
my
remember what it
experience, it
was?
couldn't be
Oh, actually, I didn't do
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. It was Moliere.
You couldn't do Shakespeare.
Which
You had
one?
to do something besides Shakespeare.
Yeah, I did Moliere.
Tartuffe?
I did
Bourgeois Gentilhomme?
Agnès. Look at me here. I almost remember the one. Look at me. Oh, look at me.
The
there.
Misanthrope?
Yeah, that wasn't the misanthrope. Look at Agnès, and I can't remember. And then I did the great speech from Tennessee Williams. I'm not going to the movies. What is that? Glass Menagerie.
Yeah.
Glass Menagerie, lovely.
Yeah, I did Cyril Turner's The Revengers Tragedy.
Oh, I love that show. I
Did the
love that
Bastards
play.
monologue in that.
Wow.
Uh,
And they didn't take you? Just the
No,
fact that
here-
you did that, they should have.
Here's what happened. So the movement teacher had this thing that he wanted you to do, and he was like, imagine.
Was it Moni Yakim?
I don't remember. It was an older gentleman, but he was like, imagine that you're pulling me towards you, just using letters. And I just got louder and louder. I just
Seems right.
Exactly. And it didn't
They
work.
do
No,
ask some ridiculous things, don't
yeah.
they?
I mean, I auditioned for Yale, Juilliard. None of them,
Wow.
would take me.
I got a story that leads into the Army, but I had won a state championship at the Pasadena Playhouse, which at the time was a
very
big
good.
act.
Big.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I won a scholarship there 2 years in a row.
An audition scene thing?
No,
How did it
was
go?
it was a one-act play.
Did you grew up
series.
around
I
Southern
grew up
Cal?
in Redlands.
In Redlands, there, yeah.
I was
Yeah, well done.
I was born in Sonora. I grew up in Redlands.
Redlands wasn't so bad.
Compared to Sonora, yeah. Right.
But anyway, I was doing a play at the community theater with the 2 teachers at San Bernardino Valley College of the drama department. And I'm thinking,
Who were excellent, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm thinking I'm going to go to this Pasadena Playhouse and, get a career going. These people come see and all that. They said, we think it would be better if you went to a real school first. Okay. So
So what's the implication? You
That's
can't
right.
you can't act, love.
no, they were afraid of gay people.
Oh.
They were afraid of gay people at this thing. And it got me drafted because I went to 1 semester at that school and they said, now you should go to L.A. You don't need any more. Go to L.A. and be a star. So I couldn't graduate within 4 years then because I did what they told me. And I got drafted.
Because you were in school, correct?
I was in school. I got into another school, a full scholarship at the U.S. International University Center for Performing Arts in San Diego.
Wow.
And I got my draft notice. And I said, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm going to lawyers. And
Did you do any, did you ever think about jumping up to Canada or anything like that? No.
I had a lot going on here.
All right.
And I
But of course,
didn't
Vaughn
want-
being Vaughn, where were you stationed? Guam or something? He ran the freaking theater. Where were you?
Cam Bay, Vietnam.
In Vietnam. He ran the
I
theater.
built a theater and I ran
You're
it.
just jogging my memory because, of course, you told a wonderful story when we first
It's the
had
greatest.
you on.
Oh, Uh-oh.
with the tabs of acid.
Uh-oh, yeah, well.
Go on then.
You want me to tell that?
Please, it's the greatest story ever.
Okay, well, in this performing arts school in San Diego, I was a hippie. Everybody was peace, love, and acid. And
I never heard that part.
and
You're too young, kid.
you don't want to hear it.
No,
But
you
you
don't
do.
want to hear it.
This guy kept sending me LSD, and I didn't want to take it in Vietnam because I wanted to live.
Was it coming from America?
Yes.
He was sending blotto.
The little paper things, in an
It
envelope.
was on blotting paper.
And I'm not taking it. Okay, I'm there for a month and a half or something. Nothing's
You've got a
happened.
stockpile of it now.
Yeah, and I had
Yeah.
a bunch. So I said, well, hell with it. I'm going to take one right now. Taking one. I'm walking back from the EM club, and all of a sudden the sky starts exploding. And I'm going, this is beautiful. And then I noticed that the little red things going are tracers,
Yeah,
which
he's being
are
attacked.
flaming
Oh,
bullets.
wow, man.
And I'm
It's
going,
not actually the
"Holy
acid."
crap, I got to get my rifle, right? I'm on acid. I got to go get my rifle. I got to run to my assigned bunker and wait for the bad guys. So I did exactly that as fast as I could. I did my duty, and I'm in the bunker waiting for the bad guys to come, and there's machine gun fire everywhere. And
It's all gone green.
and I'm who's got the ammo? And they said, we don't have it yet. What do you mean we don't have it yet? They bring it when the danger is imminent. I'm going, yeah, when does that happen? And then.
That's
everything
hilarious.
was
They
okay.
bring you the ammo when they've really.
When they
Was that a
think.
thing? I mean, that was.
Yes,
amazing.
in Cameron Bay it was because guys were shooting their officers.
Oh,
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Anyway, this is called the Enterprise Blues. right?
Enterprise Blues.
Ready?
I think so.
Here we go.
I got the Enterprise Blues, blue as I can be. You took off into space and you took off without me. Oh, come on, give me a forehead, put me back on TV. I could be in a creature that you read on your show. Yeah, I can be a Klingon like nobody that you know. Oh, come on, give me a forehead and a prize don't go. Well, Vulcan woman, with that thing you wear, you think your pointy ears can get you anywhere? That just could happen, let's wait and see. Maybe you can get the captain to bring the Enterprise to me. Go! I got the Enterprise Blues, blue as I can be. Oh, you took off into space, you took off without me. Oh, come on, give me a forehead, put me back on TV.
Play something, Vaughn. Yo!
Cardassian neck, what the heck? I'm wearing Klingon shoes. They give me the blues. I love the Herigen hunt. My board can be blunt. I got bitty and flesh. I'm such a mess. I got the blues. Yeah, then it was the Admiral. Thought I had some clout. At least I hope they wouldn't throw me out. And when they did, I had to shout, I got the blues. Yeah, the Enterprise Blues, blue as I can be. You took off into space, you took off without me. Oh, come on, give me a forehead, put me back on TV. Yes, I said, give me a forehead, put me back on TV. Oh, come on, give me a forehead and put me back on.
Please, baby, please put me back on.
But put me on put my face back in the right place.
I wanna have some makeup on.
Casey, you too, put us back on.